Hi everyone, it's Veroosh. Welcome to my channel. This is your reading for the new moon in Virgo on August 27th. I'm excited to be here with you guys and to talk with you about the astrology as well as the tarot, which we'll do an all signs about in just a moment. It is finally Virgo season and I'm excited to be here with you, and I hope you've had a nice Leo season, and happy birthday to all my fellow Virgos. So I hope you guys are well. It's super warm here today and I'm pre-filming yet again. I can't wait to be live with you guys, but for now we will pre-film videos because of some interruptions that may come up that I can't deal with on a live stream. There's a lot going on with the astrology of this new moon, and so I thought I would explain it to you as a collective, as I usually do, and then we'll go through each sign and give some explanation by your sign as well. So let's begin. So the new moon, is on August 27th. It's at 4 degrees of Virgo at about 1 a.m. So on the 26th at night, when you wake up in the morning, there will have been a new moon, and this is Pacific time where I live. The next major lunation, lunar event will be a full moon in Pisces on September 10th. So we have a couple weeks until that happens. Let's talk about some of the full moons that this is associated with. I should probably lead in with a bit of an explanation about this new moon. I've already mentioned this in a previous video that this new moon is sort of a new chapter, and so it is quite divergent from where the astrology has been very active until now. That does not mean it's completely isolated and that situations will not overlap, but if I were you in this new moon, I would be looking towards what is new patterns evolving, and this emergence of new energies. The last time there was a major lunar activity in this area of the chart was in August of 2007, and that was a full moon in Pisces at 5 degrees of Pisces. That's when the sun was in this position. So that was 15 years ago. You can look back at that time and consider what has happened in your life since then. However, since this is a new moon, I do believe it's a new cycle. You may also get prepared mentally or emotionally for 2024, because the next major lunation will be a full moon in this area at 5 degrees of Virgo, and that's going to be in February. So that's when the sun will be in Pisces. It's going to be on February 24th, 2024. And so this new moon is energetically connected to the next new moon, a full moon, and that will be in 2024. So expect some type of pattern to emerge, a set of circumstances that will continue on until 2024. There was also an eclipse in this area of the chart. There was a full moon eclipse on February 20th, 1989 at 2 degrees of Virgo, and that was the major lunation associated with this sign. So if you were alive in 1989, you can ask yourself what happened around late February and what emerged for me in late February. The reason I'm counting February is because the sun was in Pisces at the time, and the full moon was in Virgo at 2 degrees. Maybe I can show you guys if you don't mind waiting for me to enter the date. So February 2nd, 1989. Let's see. Yeah, so there you go. That's the chart. So, that's February 2nd. Sorry. Let me just correct that. 20. Okay, so that was the 20th. So you see the south node here, which was a south node full moon. And we have a massive mystic rectangle, the sun at 2 degrees with the north node. And so so you're looking at, in terms of understanding this energy, you are getting 2 dates that are important. 2007, and that was a full moon in Pisces on August 28th. And then we have an eclipse from February 20th, which is what we're looking at here, in 1989 at 2 degrees of Virgo. So that's what the sky looked like back then. There's also a new moon coming up in a while. The next new moon in this area will not be until 2049, August 28th. So it's going to be at 5 degrees of Virgo. 27th, 2020. I'm just bringing the chart back. It's funny because I drew this chart, and guess, you guys can't tell, but the minutes for which this chart is drawn is actually 11:11 a.m. So I think that's kind of cool. So you want to take a look at these patterns and these lunations. You can look forward to the full moon in 2024 in this area. That's going to be in February. And then the new moon that's going to happen in 2049. So it's going to be a while still. I'll be an old lady by then. Hopefully I'll still be reading astrology for everyone, but we'll see. So yes, so this new moon, so there's actually not that many lunar events in this area of the chart from here on in. So it's been sparse, and it's going to continue to be sparse for many, many years. So if you have placements at the beginning of Virgo or at the beginning of Pisces, this is one of the major moments for you. So pay attention to this new moon. It is a divergent energy from some of this other energy that we've been seeing, which is the big grand cross in the fixed signs. Remember, at 19 degrees of Leo is where the sun was during our last full moon, which was at 19 degrees of Aquarius. And so Venus has taken this position now, and so maybe we can bring this to your attention now. I was going to save that for later, but maybe this is a good time to reflect on the overall energy. The overall energy at this time has been really focusing on the nodes, right? So we've been talking about the South Node and North Node a lot to do with Mars, Uranus, and North Node in Taurus. That was a big event at the beginning of August. But these areas, this is called bending of the nodes, where certain planets, when they're in this position at an exact square, right, 90-degree angle to the nodes, reflect a point of tension or a breaking point. So it's a midway, it's a midpoint between the South and the North Node. And so Venus has taken the sun's position here, and so the last full moon was at these midpoints, and so it was very significant about that. I encourage you to watch that video to find out more about it there. But with Venus here, that's also significant. And this is actually the South Node bending, which means that it's in relation to this South Node. And so Venus at this position is in some way unpacking past relationships. Venus at this position is unpacking past relationships, unpacking old relationship issues. If it's not the relationship itself, relationships of the past become front and center in our lives, and kind of trying to find a resolution to events that have happened in past lives. Because this is in the past lives, but also our life up until this point. So it's a very backward looking, reflective moment, everything that's happening in relation to the nodes. And so Venus at this position is in the exact same position as the sun was when that full moon happened, right? And so when this full moon happened on August 11th, a lot of things may have come up, and look for themes that may have emerged for you with that full moon. Now that Venus is here, there's some kind of compassionate resolution, which means that there will be some kind of compassionate answer to whatever came up on August 11th. So there is a bit of a closure event alongside this new moon, but the new moon itself is very much groundbreaking in new directions. So this is very, very important. So on one hand, some of you might be experiencing answers to the problems that the full moon that emerged alongside this full moon in August 11th, 2022. But then there's also a secondary aspect of this new time emerging, new set of circumstances emerging in your life. So I hope you're looking forward to that. So differentiate between the two. There's a little bit of setting past to rest and finding peace in your heart with regard to relationship situations that may have come up in the past. And that has a lot to do with your karma. It has a lot to do with the tension, this big grand cross that we were talking about. And do watch the full moon video in Aquarius, which already passed, for more information on that. We went through that thoroughly. This is the kind of consensus or outcome point for that energy. And the new moon is bringing something new in. And what is the new moon bringing in? So let's talk about it. I think that this new moon is, even though it's in an earth sign, Virgo, it's actually very deeply connected to the air sign energy. It is happening in the first decan of Virgo. And so in traditional astrology, that is ruled by the sun. And in modern astrology, that is ruled by Mercury, which also rules the sign of Virgo. So Mercury has just entered into Libra. And so therefore, therefore it's not necessarily in a sign that it's strongest at. But it takes on that air energy. And that's where the real story unfolds with regard to this new moon, in my opinion. That being that Mercury entered Libra, or will enter Libra on August 25th. I'm filming a couple days before. This is where there will be a major retrograde cycle that goes between Libra and Virgo. That begins on September 9th and continues until October. This is when Mercury will backtrack back into Virgo and then transit over again. So Mercury is going to be in this area for the next 2 months, essentially. And this is an energy of grounding ideas. This is an energy of grounding ideas or making practical applications to the ideas that are going on inside of our heads or the things that we want to pursue. And as Mercury retrograde happens, there will be this groundedness that it kind of brings to whatever has been floating around as possibilities, ideas, dreams, aspirations. I did a whole video on Mercury retrograde, this one, so I encourage you to watch that if you're curious. However, right before Mercury enters into Libra on August 25th, it is going to be at the last stages of Virgo and aspecting Pluto, and that's going to be very important in just a moment. So while Mercury is trining Pluto, Mars is still pretty early. Actually, I can show you the dates because I'm using the right chart. So as Mercury, you see here, this is the day that I'm filming. As Mercury is in this last degree of Virgo, there's a perfect trine to Pluto, which is actually still in a trine to Mars, which has now entered into the sign of Gemini. And Mars will be in Gemini for the next 7 months. And even though it's in an air sign, it's still a part of this grand trine energy between Mercury, Pluto, and Mars. And I don't want to get too political here. I don't want to talk about, what's going on. But in Russia, you've probably heard that there's a philosophical architect for what Russia is doing. His name is Alexander Dugin. And he is maybe not the reason why everything is happening with Ukraine the way that it is, but a lot of the ideas and methodology and philosophy behind what's going on in Russia right now has been verbalized or written down by Alexander Dugin for the last 30 years in his books. So he's like the state philosopher. And so he was attacked, or there was an assassination attempt, and it's not clear if him or his daughter were the target of this. However, his daughter was actually assassinated a couple days ago. And so this seems like a symbolic event, and it's not clear who the persons behind this are. Russia is making allegations that it is Ukraine, and there are a lot of people saying that it may be something from within Russia as well. So it's a complicated situation. The only thing that's important for you to know about that is that it's deeply connected to this war, and it's deeply connected to the ideas, the nationalist ideas that are driving Russian policy at this time. Now, he's not a politician, so he wrote books. It's almost like Marx and communism. He wrote a bunch of books, and then those ideas were applied to the larger policies run by politicians. So basically he wrote some ideas down, and his ideas are actually, as a Slav, I'll tell you, are reflective of like just the general sentiment in Eastern Europe since he began writing. So he's just articulating, like a journalist, the underlying ideas that are driving people's mindsets at this time. And so this man had lost his daughter a couple days ago. This happened while Mars was transitioning into Gemini, and this grand trine energy was happening. So I'm not a doomer, gloomer, but it's a serious situation, and I do believe that this grand trine energy has some level of effect on what's going on. And we'll talk about this more in future videos, but the way that you want to think about this energy is not within the earth element, but this is really the beginning of the air energy. So Mercury entering Libra, Mars entering Gemini, where it will also have a retrograde cycle throughout the fall. And so this event is an expression of that. What could be happening for you with regard to that? Some level of a breakthrough, some shocking event. Time picks up pace and starts to run at like a really fast pace. Situations escalate quickly, transform, kind of run their course in a different direction. So pay attention to what's going on in your life. Things that may have been moving slowly with this grand trine through August 22nd through the new moon on August 27th may actually begin pace much faster after that. So that's important. And Mars itself is a key factor to this new moon. So let's move it back to the new moon. And so this is actually at a direct square to Mars, and so that's significant. For you personally, because we don't want to talk about world events, I think of world events. This is how I learned astrology, is by studying world events in history in university and then applying it to astrology by myself. So it was like my own observations and reflecting on the archetypal overlaps and all of that. So that's why I refer back to it. Sometimes I get lost because I'm passionate about the world, but it really is that. So what I would suggest you do is, when I mention something like this, it's not meant to only inform you about what's going on in Russia, let's say. It's meant to sort of give you a kind of suggestion on how to think about it for yourself. So what happened in Russia? An unexpected power move happened by some entity that's veiled and shadowed, and that is really reflective of Lilith over Sirius, which I'm going to talk about at the end of the video. And remember, when we did the new moon video in Cancer, which you can also watch on my channel, this is when the new moon happened alongside Lilith at 8 degrees. And I said to you guys right after, there's going to be transits in which there's going to be an instigation of more confusion. So the new moon in July brought clarity for all of us to certain matters. I described it recently to a client as someone lifting a rock, and all the little creatures that live under the rocks squirm away. Have you ever lifted a rock anywhere and see all the little ants and all the other little insects run away? That was sort of the new moon energy alongside Lilith. However, Lilith is still in Cancer, and almost immediately she started creating trouble in other directions. And with this fixed star Sirius, I'm really watching this transit, and I do feel as though this kind of level of secrecy, malevolence, like schemes, this energy is really speaking to the situation with Alexander Dugin's daughter. And so that's a part of this. But I want you to think about it as how it could apply to you, in the sense that it's a chaotic situation. Something started moving very quickly. It was, air energy. Suddenly this happened, this explosion. It was a car bomb, this explosion, and suddenly just the ideological, which is air, right? Gemini and Libra. The ideological, Dugin's a philosopher, underpinning of everything was happening got shaken up. And it's very, I know it's a physical act, but it's actually one that is deeply connected to the ideas that are driving the events in Russia and Ukraine right now. And so you may take that and apply it to yourself and ask yourself, what has just picked up steam intellectually, ideologically? I'm in a tough situation with something at this time, and it's difficult because when I try to speak reason to it, people get defensive, and I can't really talk about it, so I'll just leave it at that. And so there's a defensiveness and an enabling in this situation. And then during this transit, one of the things I noticed was that I found, and I've struggled with this issue for years and years and years in different iterations. This is a repeat situation in which communication is somehow, controlled or limited or negative in some way. And so I actually, through this transit for myself, found another way to explain the rubric of what's going on, which is much more tolerant and inclusive. This may not change the foundation of what I'm dealing with, but at least I feel more at peace with the information of how I'm going to explain this situation moving forward in a way that is less discriminatory, inadvertently discriminatory, or harsh to certain people. So through this transit with all these air signs, I found another way to express myself, which is Mars and Mercury. Mars is speaking, Mercury is communication, and Pluto is power, and in relation to a system of power that's corrupt. So that's very interesting. So maybe you too will look for intellectual transformations. They don't all have to be as dramatic and horrific as an assassination. They can be such things as finding your truth or finding a different communication about matters of importance that are important. But I think that because Mars is at a square to this new moon, there's a certain degree of discomfort or going against the grain. So if something's coming up that's difficult or adding friction to your experience, that's what you should be focused on. That's what this energy is dealing with. And through the tension, without no pain, no gain, right? Through the tension of this situation, hopefully you too will find your voice, as I did. That's what I was trying to say. Or maybe you will find your own way of understanding what's going on. Okay, so pretty exciting stuff. I think it's great. So we talked about actually the Grand Trine, where I thought, I'm taking so long, but I actually just jumped around from what I planned to say a little bit different, in different order. But yeah, so the Grand Trine probably accelerated things. And if you don't understand, if you don't know already, we're this year is a predominantly water year, in a time in which water element will be understated moving forward. In the last couple years, it was the end of the earth element as being a dominant factor in astrology, still showing up. So if you have water or earth transits, they're still relevant. It's just they have been very prominent the last few years, and now they won't be for a long time. And so you could see that, for example, in the level of, monetary policy, physical wars, diseases, all these kinds of earthy things kind of flaring up 2019 through 2020, and now they will decompress. So that's why we've been partly seeing so much stuff come up from the physical world as being relevant and flaring up, because it's been this last, it's like a sunset, the last moment of this earth energy over us. And so when I look at this new moon and its ruler, Mercury, for the modern astrology, in a trine to Mars and in a loose grand trine with Pluto, what I see is this beginning shift. So people talk about the age of Aquarius and, it being like many years from now. But these epochs and these time periods change it's almost like walking into the ocean. You don't walk in and go straight down. You walk, kind of like up to your ankles for a while, then up to your knees. So you kind of wade in. And so we're wading into this energy, and we'll see time and again events come up of an air quality nature that will foreshadow and prepare us for the actual transition to the air energies. And these air energies are coming in strong, especially as Pluto enters into Aquarius. So this new moon, essentially, even though it's in Virgo, it's touching upon the future 50 years or 30 years. We said 2049 for the next new moon. So it's a 30-year transit, possibly. There'll be shorter aspects to it and longer ones as well. But it's really talking about earth energy, Virgo, as affected by a Libra Mercury. And so you should be looking towards what patterns are emerging at this time with this new moon. Pretty exciting stuff. I hope I made myself clear. As I was explaining it to you guys, I was wondering, should I explain this a second time? I don't think so. And I did turn on the mic, so we don't have to do it again. So we talked about Mars squaring the sun. And so that in some ways, that tension that you might be feeling, an uncomfortable situation that you can rise to and start addressing. Then we have Mars here in Gemini for 7 months, including a retrograde period. But for now, this grand trine energy at the end of August. And we see how that's impacted world politics or world events. And maybe for you, things have really sped up or very important communications happened. Oh, that's right. That's the other thing that I wanted to mention. So Mercury entering into Libra. I know if you've been watching me the last couple of weeks or a couple months, I've been telling you on August 13th was a day in which Mercury passed 15th degree of Virgo, and that was your opportunity to communicate about the things that are important to you. Say what you need to say to who you need to say it. Now, this energy is this new energy, and that's why I was saying that. So by the time that the new moon happens on the 27th, we're really stepping into communications about the future, pushing forward with energy. And so initiating energy in new direction. So if you watch this on August 22nd, you really have until the 25th, as Mercury enters into Libra on the 25th, to say what you need to say. So if you've missed your opportunity of Mercury being at the 15th degree of Virgo, that's the exalted point. I talked about this during Mercury retrograde video, so go back and watch that if you're curious. If you miss that point, you have till the 25th to really wrap up any conversations, or if you've missed a conversation, have it now, because when this new moon happens, we're talking about this air energy that's oncoming. And so patterns will start to evolve about new things and new directions. So I think we covered everything. I did want to kind of highlight to you guys again Lilith. So we'll save Lilith for last. Lilith is at 15 degrees of Cancer. That's where Sirius star is. And so Sirius is a very important star. And I'm a bit split on this. On the one hand, I do feel that Lilith is now initiating problematic energy over us. Energy that is stirring up, because a few months ago, this was June 28th. It wasn't in July. June 28th, see, we had this new moon. I'll show you guys the exact day. So this was the new moon in Cancer, and this was when a lot of deception was removed in our lives. A lot of truth came to light and things emerged. Well, now, a couple months down the line, Lilith is at Sirius, and I'm wondering if not, this is in some way bringing some kind of new layer of covert behavior, such as with what happened to Alexander Dugin's daughter. Her name is Daria Dugina, or her name was, and there's all this secrecy around it. You can probably feel when I'm describing it. And so there's already levels of secrecy and manipulation that are emerging in public spaces, but possibly in your everyday life. I do feel like with Sirius, this is also bringing some potential for clarity again to malevolent acts and malevolent deeds. And so there could be truth being brought to situations, and Sirius star could be intervening in any darkness in your life and maybe in these world politics. So I'm split on it. I'm paying attention to it. Just want to bring your attention to the fact that Lilith is with Sirius star for the next couple weeks. I'm gonna tell you guys, I think literally, yeah. So by the September 5th or 6th, this is September 8th. So let's say by that full moon, this is the full moon on the 11th, on the 9th. No, it's gonna be on the 10th. Okay, sorry, on the 10th. So by the 10th of September, when the full moon happens in Pisces, there'll be enough of a distance between Lilith and the star. So just pay attention to your surroundings, and maybe you can even let me know if you're noticing an increase of deception and manipulation, or if significant truths have been revealed about circumstances and manipulative behaviors of others. So pretty exciting stuff. I'm just going to switch the charts around so that we can talk about this for every single sign. Give me one sec, please. Oh, hold on. I thought I had it figured out. Hold on one sec. Okay. Oops. Okay. So now we're going to talk about this for every single sign, and I'll give you a message and contextualize this for you. I have to switch the charts when I'm using when I'm reading for your guys' sign than when I do the collective. They're two different charts. They look very similar, but they're not the same. One of these things is not like the other. So let's get into it, and I'm excited to tell you about it. So that actually came out kind of backwards to what I intended, but I hope that it gives you some ideas, or gives you some ideas or understanding of what's been happening, and hopefully that you see this is an oncoming energy of air frequencies, and we're just waiting for this Grand Cross to break. While the Grand Cross is here, it will still push us into working through difficult things, that systems that are already in our lives, so such as, you know, contracts and agreements, systemic things that we're around. Those kinds of things will be kind of like up and around to deal with. But as this kind of unpacks and unravels through the fall, then we will begin this forward-looking energy, and we'll talk about that more later, but this is the new moon for that. Okay, so first we'll start with Gemini. Hi Gemini, let's take a look at your chart for the new moon energy. Okay, all right, so Gemini, first and foremost, and I'll pull some cards for you guys as well. For you, the important thing of this new moon is, in some way, there will be a lot of private tensions that a lot of people around you are not aware of. And there will be a pressure from your family or in your home environment to go in a new direction. But they're not going to understand that there's some type of pressure either within you. This could be some, I don't do medical astrology, but it could be like a pressure within you with regard to like a hang up about something, or it could be anxiety about something, or really heavily internally impacted by the world around you, giving you a feeling of wanting some kind of resistance to family or your immediate household in some way, wanting you to begin something new. So there will be tension for you with regard to that. I think for many Geminis, and we'll do a Mars and Gemini video series so you guys get specific messages, but I think at the beginning of this transit, as Mars has entered into Gemini on August 20th, you probably feel some degree of wanting to hold back a little bit. You may be feeling a desire to go slow. You sense that there's a lot coming up, and there is. And so you want to pay attention to this. So in other words, your environment in your home or in your surroundings wants you to begin something new, and that's good, that's fresh. But I think that you're going to be in some way feeling tension, or in some way feeling the need to go slow, and you need to honor that as well. So find the balance between those two things. So we have Cancer South Node. So you don't have to have Cancer South Node for this to be relevant in the 4th house. So that's where we're focusing on with this new moon. So this could be something to do with your mother. Cancer is the sign of the mother, and something to do with the past. So matrilineal kind of issues. This could be past life, or this could be heredity. There could be something to do with like letting go of mother frequencies from the past, beginning a new cycle. If mother energy or wife energy, sister energy in your life has been, if it's sick in some way or has been like harmed, then maybe this issue that's emerging with the new moon is going to be a new way of you confronting that, or not necessarily confronting it, but once again pushing forward away from whatever trauma has happened. Okay, let's see this energy. So like, let's say that like your great grandmother lived through some horrific war, and that has seriously impacted women in your family. Now you are in some way once again breaking away from the themes of that. So whatever's emerging will have something to do with that history. Okay, so we have the Empress, and she's in reverse. So I pulled the deck upside down by mistake. I'm going to turn it right side up, but it is the Empress. And I think it's significant because we are talking about mother energy. So I have a feeling that there's like a fair bit of healing with mother frequencies here. And I don't want to trigger anyone to get into details, but when we're looking at Pluto finishing its transit of the 8th house, for you, Gemini, this is going to be really tied into a lot of endings this fall. And it's not going to be like endings like you had 2019 through 2020. This is like cathartic endings, which means like coming to terms with, finding answers for, finding peace with whatever circumstances that have happened. So in other words, you can't really push away whatever new is starting. It's kind of feeling exciting for you here. But also at the same time, I feel trepidation from you. I feel like you probably want to go slow. You're probably overwhelmed, maybe overstimulated. We have the Devil, which is the card for Capricorn, the sign of Capricorn. So we were talking about the 8th house and Pluto, so that's probably something to do with some kind of endings. Then we have the Strength card, Leo. It's all trumps, so this is big stuff. And yeah, we didn't start slow here. Then we have the Ace of Swords and the 3 of Pentacles. New beginning of work for Gemini, and then 6 of Swords, not Wands. Work going in a new direction, getting away from something complicated, There's a situation that could be connected to mother energy in your life, or you being a mother, that is weighty or difficult for you to live with. And that situation, whatever it is, you're dealing with it yet again, moving away from it, finding new paths through it, finding answers to it. So this new moon, remember, the next kind of major lunation is just around the corner. It's August, is it? No, February 24th, 2024, is it? Yep. So it's February 24th, 2024, which is about a year and a half from now. And so I believe this new moon will unfold over this period. Okay, so you're beginning some path away from some things familiar, forgiving yourself for something, letting go of an attachment to some history that may be difficult. And it may not be your history. It may be your mom's or your grandmother's or something like that. Okay, that's pretty intense too. Happy birthday, Gemini. Okay, it's been a while, but I just felt like saying it. Okay, so next we have Libra. Definitely an air sign moment. Hey, Libra and Gemini coming up right away. Let's take a look at your energy, Libra. So for you, Mercury is going to go over the ascendant. That's always very important. I talked about this in kind of a lot of detail for the Mercury retrograde video, so you might want to check that out. We have Sun in Aquarius. That's a beautiful trine to your placement. You don't have to have Sun in Aquarius for this to be an energy for you. I'm just reading the dice. 7th house. Maybe for some of you this is a sign that an Aquarian type person is a great match for you at this time. We do have Jupiter in your 7th house, so you should be open to love, relationships, see what's going on with that. Although Aries is not a part of this new moon energy deeply, the new moon is happening in your 12th house, and it is deeply connected to the retrograde cycle, because Mercury is now just entered into Libra, but will go straight back into Virgo, where the new moon is in Virgo. And so therefore this new moon probably begins something of a personal nature, something that probably doesn't seem like a big deal at first will grow to be much more important in the future. So that's exciting. This retrograde cycle will help you tackle it or address it. I have a feeling that it's something that's like hard to deal with directly. So this will be another way to begin this new path. Something of a personal nature starts emerging into your public life. And yeah, and there's also this energy of kind of loving energy. So I think probably you're separating yourself from some of the things that you have been dealing with until now, and you're sort of finding maybe new avenues through which to connect with others through. There could be love for some of you because of this Jupiter transit and because of this suggestion here. Finding common ground with others, finding understanding. But you're doing a fair bit of thinking here, Libra, as Mercury enters into your 12th house and re-enters again. So this new moon initiates whatever's going on in Virgo in your 12th house, in your private space, for you to think that way and be focused that way and, you know, see where things grow to. Yeah. So, okay, so I could say more, but we'll say more next time. Then we have Sun. And then we have Queen of Wands, Sag, Leo, or Aries, secondary transits in water, and Ace of Pentacles. Somebody's giving you some kind of opportunity. I really feel as though this could be a 7th house issue. 7th house isn't just romance. It could be like good opportunities at work, a good connection with someone, understanding, breaking new ground, finding like a ally, a strong friendship, a new financial beginning. And I think for you, there's like a little bit of rumination here, which means that you're meant to think about the opportunities that are coming your way. Then we have the Four of Wands. You're going to be very happy about it. This, for some of you, this may really make you want to buy a new home. This is Pluto at the end of your 4th house. If there is a financial new beginning, you might suddenly feel the urge to buy a new home, and you see the opportunity there. So some of you might feel, I feel like, very excited for financial new beginnings, and you pursue that with this Knight of Swords energy and the Four of Wands. So this might be a moment in which you feel extra energy to go after something of a financial nature, possibly something to do with the house. When you see an opportunity come in from someone, somebody's very gracious towards you, somebody's very kind and giving, and you find common ground with this person. So very nice energy, but I do think with this new moon, fair bit of thinking about it, contemplating what's going on, figuring out what you want. So that's a nice energy. Okay, so let's see the next sign. We have Aquarius. So all three air signs right up at the front, so that's cool. Like I said, I think this new moon is really deeply connected with the air energy, and it's kind of like the beginning stages of Age of Aquarius. So if you didn't watch the astrology, watch that. Jupiter in Capricorn, so we just had that in 2019. Jupiter in Capricorn, so you can look back to 2019 for that energy in the 11th house, 2020. Okay, so connection with people towards good outcomes, especially with work or career matters. So who have you connected with in the last couple years who is a potential source of growth in new directions? Let's take a look at this new moon specifically. It's happening in your 8th house. So for you, a pattern of new beginnings emerging with this new moon. So it has nothing to do with anything up until now. If anything that is happening around you at this time from the past, it probably has to do with this Grand Cross energy off the nodes with Aquarius, Saturn, and Leo, Venus. And so there could be relationship issues that you're working through at this time, but this isn't the energy that the new moon is concerned itself with. The new moon for you is very much about cutting cords or letting go of something from the past, freeing yourself up from commitments towards new opportunities. You may find yourself really want to move quickly towards gaining that which you want. So suddenly something deep from within you, Pluto at the end of your 12th house, and Mars and Mercury, we talked about this in the intro, in some way initiating some desire, going straight after desire, going straight after what you want. You know what you want. You're very clear-minded. If you're around an Aquarius type at this time, and I'm not throwing shade at Aquarians. I have an Aquarian mood. Mood. Yeah, my mood is Aquarian. But this is a time in which an Aquarius can break hearts. So if you're dealing with an Aquarius type, be careful, because they might, or we may, move very quickly towards our goals. And this is a time when people will very much quickly make those types of decisions. And one of the shadow sides of Aquarius, I don't know if it's a shadow, but it's a part that people struggle with, is that they don't see us coming. Like we make fast decisions in whatever direction we're choosing, and we can blindside people. And the more that they care about us, the more we have to take care with the fact that they know what we're up to. So two-parter. If you're with an Aquarius type, be careful, because they might switch up the game on you really quick. But if you're an Aquarian type, just watch out for the people that you care about most, because they may be missing the point. And you might feel a great pressure as Uranus and Venus create a square. You might feel a great pressure to move quickly, you know, in the cloak. Like Aquarian moon rules the 7th house, and they often call that the thief card. But it's also a card of moving quickly in the kind of like cover of darkness where nobody sees you coming and going. And so Aquarians are actually a very private sign. And so that is kind of like a part of there's nothing malicious about doing that in and of itself. It's just privacy to make the decisions you're making. Here it is. There's the card. This is Moon in Aquarius, quickly making decisions and not letting anybody know. So you have to sort of balance your nature against your situation, and make sure that whoever is putting their faith in you, Jupiter in Capricorn in the 11th house, you're not breaking those bonds and you're not, blindsiding them. So keep open communication, even if it's your nature to move stealthily and quickly and privately in your own direction. Emperor. So yeah, making a big decision, I would say, for Aquarians. And then we have the Queen of Cups, Pisces, Cancer, Scorpio. Somebody's heart is on the line around you, Seven of Cups. So somebody's not seeing everything that you're up to, and it's up to you to communicate to avoid breaking hearts. Mars in Gemini, is tough for the air signs, but specifically for Gemini and for Aquarius, because that's when our signs are can be very insensitive, or can be very focused on the rational without focus on how that's going to be interpreted and the emotional side of that. So you're under some very decisive energy here, Aquarius. So make sure that as this new moon in the 8th house is like making you want to make a very quick decision, that you're careful with other people's feelings. So slow down a little bit. This may have financial implications. Neptune is in Pisces in the 2nd house. Hanged Man is ruled by the sign of Neptune. And then we have the Two of Cups. This is my friend one. So this can be a relationship type card, but I have Two of Cups in my deck. This is my deck. And this is more the friendship side of things. So again, when I get this card, it's be even more careful, because somebody's considering you a deep friend. Look, Six of Cups. There's someone who has deep feelings for you, or you're in a deep connection with this person. And when you make the decisions you're going to be called to make with this new moon, make sure that you're not blindsiding the sensitive people around you. This Jupiter in Capricorn in the 11th house, you don't have to have this transit for this to be a message for you. That's a huge position for great friendship. This is, or like someone somebody who's very trustworthy, or great commitment, and you don't want to mess with that level of just someone being very genuine with you, or putting a lot of faith in you, right? So you have something that's riding on this relationship a lot. So don't mess it up. Scorpio's next. Okay, hey Scorpio, let's take a look at your chart. So let's see. So I don't remember the Mercury retrograde video, but somebody I think they were trolling, but they said, oh, Scorpio message was so negative. I'm like, I don't know. We created the dark, right? I was born of it. So anyway, so we have, South Node in Cancer. So you're not going to get a lighter message here. South Node in Cancer. So again, this is very similar to I think it was the Gemini message. They had South Node Cancer too, and in the 8th house. That's where Mars is now. South Node Cancer makes me think about the mother and matriarchal, matrilineal sort of passage of time. So from mother to daughter, from grandmother to daughter, granddaughter, that kind of energy. So, and in the 8th house signals some kind of transformation. We're going to do a dedicated video for Mars in Gemini, which is very significant for you. It's in your 8th house. You're in for a huge change this fall, and there's going to be a huge learning opportunity, or a big lesson, as Mars creates its retrograde cycle through the 8th house. Your approach to something, you will likely put an end to something at the end of this in January, February of next year, whatever's coming up, or you will learn a valuable lesson about endings and have the opportunity to reform an ending over again. It's a very powerful event in your life. Pay attention to this. But this new moon is squaring this position, this tension. So there's a tension around endings that's coming up for you, Scorpio. There could be an ending that you're putting off, or you need to revisit or do better, but there's definitely something to do with endings here. It's at a square to where things are new beginnings with friends, new social connections. I think we talked about this recently for you, where there was a lot of uptake in social life and socializing and building great bonds. So that is continuing. Yeah, your recent readings have been about friendship. So I think that person was trolling, because I think I've been seeing for you new friendships and those kinds of things. And so this new moon in Virgo is definitely that. What this looks like to me is that you're making some pretty solid moves in terms of new friends, and on the horizon of your life, there's this change brewing. This is a change you should have made already in the past, or this will be something that is important for your future, or you might have to do something differently and revamp again. This is important because it's in relation to Saturn squaring the nodes, and you're finding a different way through circumstances that you're dealing with. So there's a fair bit of delays this year because of Saturn squaring the nodes. Things are moving slowly for us all. And for you, Mars indicates that there's probably an ending that you need to reform, or that you need to take, that you've been putting off. Okay, so let's see your cards. So the data points should be coming in already on that, so pay attention to what those are. Six of Wands is Six of Swords, moving on from a situation in peace. I have a feeling this is not for all Scorpios, that some of you ended things abruptly and too passionately, and I think there needs to be like a more compassionate ending to some things, which means that I don't know, just go in peace, or end in peace, or and what kind of conflict. It feels like maybe there was like a heated conversation that was that ended things, that put things to an end, and that were somewhat disruptive to you or the other person in the future. And so there's like a call to action here to readdress whatever endings have happened, even if you disagree with the person, even if there's conflict, that there's this peaceable way forward. Bygones be bygones, and especially important for those of you who have kids. Maybe this is signaling that there will be, because 8th house is shared assets. So this could be like resolution with your ex-partner over custody issues in a much friendlier way. So all of those things are impacted, especially issues concerning motherhood or your mother. Okay, then we have, this will bring great happiness to you. I think the tension is that you do want to begin new friendships and new directions. But I think that something's calling your name to you can't move forward without addressing what you're in at this time. And you will be resilient to that in some way. I think your patience is spent on an issue, and I think that you're really excited about new starts. That's Sun and Scorpio card. So I think that there's new things that you're excited about, and possibly feeling some tension with some things that you have to address from the past. But I think that you'll feel better once you do. It's like, doing the thing that you have to do, but once you do it, you feel better. Cleaning your house. Maybe it's a giant chore, but you can't go out and hang out with your friends while you do it. But once you do it, it's going to feel very relieving. So congratulations, Scorpio. It looks like a good energy for you. Okay, so we'll talk about that more, the Mars transit in the future. But for now, have a good new moon. We have Capricorn next. Hey, Capricorn. Probably the best deck. This is the best card out of all these. Let's see. Capricorn energy. Okay, so Capricorn, I want to roll the dice first. So we have Virgo, Jupiter. Virgo, Jupiter happened in 2016. So 8 years ago now? What? No, 6 years? So long, time flies. In the 5th house. Okay. Virgo, Jupiter, and that's very compatible for you. Your 5th house is Taurus, however, and the North Node is there as well. And Virgo is where the new moon is in your 9th house. These are powerful positions for you, and no matter where your placements of Capricorn are, there's some significance for you. If you have early placed Capricorn transits, then this is creating a direct trine to this 9th house new moon, possibly new ideas and new directions, getting a real kind of clarity on where you want to go and where you want to see things grow. If you're in the middle of Capricorn placements, so right in the 10 to 20 degree mark, then that's a trine to the North Node. And again, there's a real awareness here of what brings you happiness and joy, and having that being a huge focus. That is going to maintain for the rest of the year for the most part as the North Node transits through the 2nd decan. So right until January, December, you're going to be feeling that. So both the first 20 degrees of Capricorn placements, you're probably in some way feeling very inspired by this new moon. Or if you have those middle placements, you will continue to have ideas about where you want to see your life grow, what brings you joy, and what is like a nice way forward. If you have placements at the end of Capricorn, of course, Pluto isn't there. That is a big deal, no matter what placement is here at the end of Capricorn. Complicated situations are coming into your life, but they're not necessarily bad. There's a lot of potential for growth here. There's a lot of potential for, acceleration of your life in new directions and positive directions. And this grand trine that we talked about in the intro between Mars and Mercury and Pluto here, or whatever placement you have, is also very significant. It's sort of taking a step, if you have placements in late Capricorn, possibly taking a step towards the things that you want to create, especially in your career, as it's the 6th and the 10th house. So there's this, kind of prerogative of taking responsibility on your own shoulders, which is a Capricorn thing to do, and say, I'm going to take the initiative. And if you're feeling that at this time, this kind of transit for you suggests a great success, especially financial. So this, whatever you're starting or whatever you're called upon to start at this time, might be very, very successful. So go with your gut instinct. I really like the Capricorn placements for this reading, actually. All three decans are very nice. So I hope you enjoy that. So we have the 4 of Swords. We have the 6 of Swords. Sorry, it says Wands. Rest and moving on from a situation. 7 of Cups. It feels as though this isn't like sleep rest, but I feel as though a situation has passed. And I think that you get a certain bit of mind rest from a taxing situation, a situation that's difficult to navigate, difficult to figure out. There's a desire here to want to figure out where things are going. The 7 of Cups. It could be like fool's gold, sort of like a lost mission, which means that you may feel like you can affect change to solve the riddle about a situation in your life. But I think this is suggesting that it's better for you to move forward and move on, as opposed to trying to find the answer to something. I know it feels like you can find the answer. I question whether or not it's a pipe dream. A pipe dream means something that doesn't actually, the luck at the end of the rainbow, but that's the joke. There's no end to the rainbow. You'll never find it. So it's this kind of, there's a false perception that you may be experiencing that if you just study longer, if you just pay attention more, you'll be able to troubleshoot a situation or understand the answer of a situation. I don't think so. I think you should spend your energy towards the productive things and things that bring you joy at this time. And I think that they're taking you in new directions. 3 of Cups. Maybe some of you are really tempted to go back to the past. That's the South Node in Scorpio. And these are some of the tensions that these transits are creating for us in 2022. But I would again suggest that this temptation to go back to the past is kind of futile. It's like Back to the Future movies. You just learn that it just becomes like a whole Pandora's box of issues if you try to figure it out. And maybe this is you coming to realize that, constantly going back to something, ruminating over it, asking different questions of your ex-partner only to get the same result. Maybe there is no answer. Maybe it feels tempting like there's an answer, but there's no actual answer there. And then we have the Nine of, it's an unsettled feeling, but I think it's a constructive one. This is very clearly saying move on from something. Something felt like a very good situation in the past, but I have a feeling that it's almost got its hooks into you, and you keep, it's, I don't know if it's intentional. I don't think it's intentional for everyone. For somebody it may be. Maybe it's a financial issue that you're learning that in some way you're telling yourself, if I only think about it a slightly different way, I will find a better answer. I think it's like a false perception. I think it's like it's a tease of some kind that makes you feel like you can find the answer in this new direction. But I think that the new is brighter and better. Okay, so that's your message for this new moon. So out with the old, forget about the old, begin the new right now. Okay, next we have Cancer. Hey Cancer, let's take a look at your placements. Cancer, Sun, Moon, and Rising. Let's take a look at your chart. So let's roll the dice first. So nice third house, new moon, Uranus and Pisces. Uranus. And when was Uranus in Pisces? I feel like it's been a long time ago. Oh, maybe not that long ago. Uranus was in Pisces. Jeez Louise. It was like in the 2000s. Okay. Y2K aesthetic, right? In the first house. Okay. Cancer. Uranus. Maybe very open to new ideas. And remember what I said, watch the intro when I talked about the astrology. That Lilith transit alongside Sirius is hitting home right now. It's in your first house. This is really suggesting to me that you may be open to relationships or emotional states with people that you're not accustomed to. You might be experiencing things of a different nature, like new emotional experiences, or you might have an idea that you're open to, like a new emotional experience, but it's very left field for you, such as a thing as polyamory. Like, oh, maybe I'll try polyamory. Try polyamory if you want to, but I'm just saying that it's quite a left turn for you, whatever it is, and that it might be a bit of a, like, you might be very called upon right now, Cancer, to do something that you normally wouldn't do, which is great if you're adventuresome, but it can also cost you time and energy. So make sure that you're not getting overzealous with the new things you're pursuing. You might be feeling very adventurous at this time emotionally, in other words, but maybe the decisions that you're making, I don't know if they're going to be, to your liking. So you're kind of pushing the envelope emotionally a bit here. But be careful that you're not like creating something that's averse to your long-term well-being. And especially with Pluto at the end of this house here, of the 7th house, you might be, when they call it reactive abuse, I'm not saying like you've been abused or anything like that, but you've been under a significant amount of pressure. So you might be literally acting out at this time emotionally and choosing difficult situations to be in. So if you find yourself like choosing to be around difficult people or harsh environments, ask yourself, do I actually really want to be here, or am I actually just shooting myself in the foot for some reason? Okay, so pent up energy from that Pluto opposition could be, and Lilith here alongside Sirius could be causing you to make sure that you're not choosing crappy situations and crappy people. The new moon is in your 3rd house. Lots of stuff around your neighborhood, lots of opportunities around your neighborhood to connect with others. I have a feeling that there's financial issues for many Cancers that are slow to resolve at this time. You have to give it time and wait and see. I have a feeling that there's going to be some good financial turnaround for October, November for you guys, but just be patient with the financial situations as they stand at this time. There could be external factors pushing down on you. There may be directions that you want to take, but you feel limited to take, like you don't have enough resources or you don't have enough stuff to get there. And there's new exciting things in your neighborhood. And so it feels as though there's a lot of stuff happening for you on different levels. The thing I would focus on is your community, your neighborhood right now, because there could be some new friends, new connections, people that you're around that you have access to. You might be making some pretty good connections, pretty good bonds there. Okay, so let's see some cards for your sign. We have the Seven of Pentacles. Yeah, there's that waiting for money. I feel like waiting for money will be a theme for you for the rest of the year. Knight of Swords, and it's not a bad thing. That's actually a sign that whatever financial situation you're in is working itself out. Just be patient. Knight of Swords. There could be impatience. That's an issue. Somebody could be bringing to you the need to move faster or be more assertive or, you know, achieve something quicker. Then we have the Two of Swords. I feel like you're, how do I say this, restless, which is a very Uranian sort of energy, especially in something like Pisces, because you see so many possibilities and yet it's not yet time to act on them yet. This new moon, as I tried to say in the intro, is the beginning of a new series of events that is not tied into everything else that's happening. Not necessarily, but they may overlap, like the financial issues may in some way affect the new moon frequencies, but you're reading two chapters from the same book. Okay, Nine of Pentacles. I feel good financial outcomes in time. And then we have the World, which is the 9th house. And the reason that I said that there could be like far improvement for you in the fall, Jupiter will re-enter Pisces in the 9th house, and something may become available to you of a financial nature in the fall, in the winter time when Jupiter is in Pisces. So I feel like you're in a holding pattern here. I feel like something could be pushing you to try to make things happen faster. This could be also you just being impatient, but I also feel that you should be patient. So try to be patient regardless of what's going on. The outcome is good. 9 of Pentacles, money, and the World, expansion. Just hold your, confidence about whatever situation that you're involved in. The Two of Swords means that you may not be seeing the situation clearly yet. So this is not a good time for you to make a decision. This is not a time for you to throw in the towel. This is not the time for you to make a significant change unless you have to. This is the time for you to wait and see, look around you, look around close to home, see what's happening, what kind of new experiences you may have. This Uranus and Pisces in the 1st house, you might meet someone who's quite different than a lot of people you know, and that might be very refreshing for you, like a new type of energy, a new type of person around. Exciting. Okay, so then we have Sag. Hi Sag, welcome to my channel. Let's take a look at your energy moving forward. Let's start with the dice. So we have North Node in Taurus. That's where we're at today. So North Node is in Taurus until July 2023. And this is for you in the 2nd house. For you, the 2nd house is Pluto, which is also significant because in 2023, Pluto will be leaving the 2nd house and entering your 3rd house, beginning to 2023 to 2024. Pluto will be transiting between these two positions. And so that's important because the North Node in Taurus is deeply connected to Pluto in Capricorn. And so as the North Node moves towards Aries, there will be a point in which they will be in significant positions in your chart. So by next year, as Pluto is in the 29th degree of Capricorn and the North Node is in the 1st degrees of Taurus, you're building up to some type of financial breakthrough, some financial opportunities. The new moon in Virgo is in your 10th house of career. This is a huge message for a lot of things coming up for you of a financial nature. And it's important to focus on Pluto in Capricorn because it's the last time it's going to be here for 200 years, 250 years. So for you, this could be a big push of a financial nature. This could be like one big last opportunity. I'm not saying you will not get opportunities after that, but this could be the beginning stages of one big last gift from Pluto before it leaves your second house. I like Pluto in Capricorn, and I like it in the second house. It's really financial windfall. So play the lottery, do what you need to do, Sag, because money is in your favor. And I think it will be unpacking from now until July 2023. So this new moon in your 10th house could be opening up new opportunities. I have a feeling some of you are tired from this chasing money sort of energy. I really encourage you to continue to chase money until July 2023. That's when the North Node leaves Taurus. So continue that pattern, because after that, money will still come into your life, but this is the time when financial opportunities can be very abundant. So don't waste the opportunity, in other words. So yeah, so that's pretty significant. You might be going through some kinds of pressures on you from the outside world. And this may have begun with the full moon in Aquarius on August 11th, to limit yourself, to not step out as much as you do. People may be unquieted by the choices you're making. I think that this transit and what's going on astrologically at this time is actually encouraging independence. So not being cruel or unkind to anyone, but not complying and making others feel comfortable by limiting yourself and your opportunities. So you might be feeling as though your opportunities are making others uncomfortable, but this is the energy in which you're meant to go after your opportunities, and hopefully they can deal with it, right? So go after what it is that's there for you. It's not going to last forever. In fact, it's coming to an end. There will be other like opportunities, good astrological transits, but these transits are really good for money. These transits are really good for success. So, if somebody's kind of screwing their nose up at you or giving you pressure, or if society as a whole feels like pressure, just move past it. 3 of Cups. Somebody from the past wants to reconnect. I have a feeling like that's that person that in some way was limiting to you. I always say this, 7 of Pentacles, making you slow down with things. Other people feel very disquieted by our progress and movement because they want us to be like we were when we became friends or connected with them in whatever way, because that's convenient for them. It's not that people are terrible, that's their psychology. So when you're breaking ground and you're not available to babysit, your sister's kids, she might find that annoying. It's not that she doesn't want you to be successful. It's that you being unemployed and available to babysit was very convenient for her. And now that you're, getting a job or going somewhere else, that might feel uncomfortable for her. That's a really funny example. I hope your sister's happy for you, but that's the essential kind of relationship. So it's not so much that there's a begrudging energy here. You might be disrupting what's comfortable for the people around you. And so I think that you should be bold and fight against it. Not literally fight, but hold back, do it in your private spaces. Again, it's calling you back into the house. It's calling you to kind of sit privately and think about what's going on and put in that work towards the outcome that you want. So Queen of Pentacles, Virgo. So this is suggesting that's you. where there's financial success for you at the end of wherever you're applying yourself. However, whatever you're doing, this has a good financial outcome, and this is strongly saying go after these opportunities before July 2023, which means start now. And who cares what anybody else thinks? Somebody from the past, so, oh, I forgot to mention this Three of Cups with the Ace of Swords. Someone from the past could be connecting with you, and this person put a lot of pressure on you to stay the same. I feel like there may be a break between you and them to the effect that you didn't talk to them so much until now. And they're coming back with like maybe apologies or, hey, how you're doing, trying to like ease the tension. But I think that this person will once again try to rope you in. Because again, I'm getting very clearly that it's their psychology. They're not consciously being mean. They're not consciously being terrible. But it's their psychology, their fear mechanisms that are showing up. So modify how you're exposed to that person. And if somebody was causing you, obstacles in the past with a bad attitude, them reaching out to you now is just more of the same. They're just not self-aware enough to be able to recognize it. So tread cautiously. But it's gray rock technique from narcissism, which means that you don't have to gray rock everyone, but you can limit how much you tell other people depending on how they treat you, right? So figure out what the comfortable space for you is. If it's your mom, then, figure out what's comfortable to tell her and leave out the rest to yourself. If she's always criticizing your initiatives, tell her everything else but the initiatives. Keep that private. It may feel weird at first, but it actually may make sure that you're achieving your goals. Okay, Virgo next. Hey, Virgos. Okay, so let's see what's going on for you with this new moon in Virgo. So happy birthday if your sun is in Virgo. So we have Mars in Scorpio. The treacherous Mars. You don't have to have Mars in Scorpio in order for this to apply. And the third house. If you have Mars in Scorpio, I love all Scorpio placements, but I like them because they're complicated. So Mars in Scorpio has a complicated side. This could be a grudge energy. For me, like Mars and Venus in Scorpio always carries a bit of a vendetta. The Venus in Scorpio is more like a grudge, like holding on to negative feelings. Scorpio moon. But the Mars in Scorpio could be like, just secretly wishing that karma gets someone, that kind of thing. So they're in the third house. And listen, look, your third house is Scorpio with the South Node there. So it's making me think like maybe there's something around you in your community or close to home, or maybe siblings or cousins that maybe not want you to fail, or maybe there's some repressed feelings or emotions that they feel towards you. Maybe someone wants you to feel their pain, or maybe you had a conflict with someone in the past and in some way that person's harboring those feelings towards you. I'm feeling like things like a couple years ago. So this last full moon, the last lunation that happened close to here was in 2007. If you watch the intro, you'd know, on August 28th at 5 degrees of Pisces. And so this was the last time there was a major lunar event that happened close to this degree. It was happening at 5 degrees, so it's about a degree off. But anyway, so maybe you can look back to 2007 and see if there's someone with whom you had tension there. Is this person around? Is this person still like holding on energy? Or maybe this is like residual stuff from that experience. Maybe this is your relationships to your siblings because it's the third house. And so maybe something has to be, maybe you feel guilty towards your sibling about something. And maybe this is a call to action to kind of let it go, Virgo. So pretty intense right away. The new moon is exciting because it's in your first house. And beyond that, if you watch the intro to astrology, I actually feel this new moon is coinciding with a lot of the air sign energy that we'll have moving forward. Some people call it, age of Aquarius. It is kind of age of Aquarius, new beginnings. So that's exciting. A lot of things are picking up this time, and a lot of things are moving quickly. There could be real opportunities for you in terms of career, in terms of where you are going. Virgos, I think this is a time for you to show up. Both Mercury and Mars will go retrograde in your 10th and 2nd house over the next 2-3 months. And that's going to be very powerful to doing things the way that you want to do them. In other words, one thing that I'm doing is I'm doing a very deep clean right now, like around me in my house. And I want to really kind of get in there and make sure everything's organized to where I want it to be. And so that when these energies happen, I can focus on other things. So I know where everything is, so that everything is, up to par and organized. Just a fresher up, kind of moment. So as this is beginning, you may want to clean something up around you. You want to get things organized. You want to finish the tasks you were doing. You want to start looking forward with this new moon to other things that are coming up. And so some of these pressures will feel like tension. Some of the things in the outside world that want you out in the world, interacting with them, you'll feel resistant to but I think in the end it's going to all tie in together anyway, so just play it by ear. So what I see for you here, Virgo, are opportunities that you need to focus on in career, in money situations. This is a second stab at something, so it's pretty exciting set of transits. And on top of that, a new interest may be emerging. An opportunity to do things a different way may be emerging. Your attention is being called in a new direction. And Venus is moving into Virgo very soon as well. So we're about to have a very nice Virgo season. Let's take a look at your tarot cards. So, yes. Letting go of the past. Working something out. There's a relationship with someone that needs working out. And this is someone who's close to home, like a sibling or a cousin. It doesn't have to be that person, but the residual feelings from that need to be worked through. New opportunities in career. Get organized, because things will get complicated very quickly. And when I say complicated, I don't mean bad, I just mean fast. And so you want to make sure that you're organizing everything and making sure that it's clean and, ready to go. And on top of that, there will be new things catching your eye and making you interested. And so you need to find a balance between it all. So, okay. So we see the Knight of Wands. So this is coming through as this Mars. Somebody could be coming in bitter, but it's such a small energy in relation to where your attention's going. Your attention's going towards new things you can work on and new things you can construct. And this reading is for Sun, Moon, and Rising Virgo. And then we have the Seven of Cups. Somebody could be coming in with like false niceties, which means that be careful with someone like pushing disingenuous behavior on you with ulterior motives. You'll get like a creepy crawly feeling up your spine when this person comes through. Look for the genuine connection. Look for the genuine friendship. This is not a time, and so Lilith actually is with Sirius in your 11th house of friendship through this time, through September 9th. I think we said the next full moon, which is the 10th. So maybe until then, I would be cautious with friends at this time. It feels as though, and this is a perfect trine to the South Node, this could be like people harboring negative resentments towards you, negative feelings. And so don't get caught up in their drama. And they are being triggered by these transits to act up this way. So therefore, it's very important for you to stay free and clear and look for the good connections. Those energies that are negative or harboring they just feel so small. It feels like the major focus here is actually the 10th and the 2nd house, where so much for you is beginning. It feels like somebody wants to argue with you about the past, and you're already focused on new things, and new things seem so much more exciting. So I heard this really good saying today, and it's a good reminder because like everybody kind of knows this, but unless you have to make a decision, then don't. So unless you really have to address this situation, don't go looking for it. Just leave it alone. Okay, Queen comes. Yeah, there's someone that's definitely holding on to feelings. There could be gossip involved. King of Cups. But there's allies in all this too, so don't feel pressured. You know, when somebody is upset with someone else for a very long period of time, and maybe although everybody is sympathetic towards their feelings, after a while it just, everybody's like nobody wants to gaslight, but maybe what they're upset about is not, they're still upset about it, they're still complaining about it, and everybody else has moved on. It's a bit of an energy like that, where it feels like somebody could be continuing to try to seek conflict while everybody else has figured out it's okay and it's time to move on and go a different direction and stay free and clear of whatever was going on. Okay? And this is actually suggesting, so we have Two of Cups here and the King of Cups. It feels like there's some really good allies too in this whole mix of circumstances you're involved in. So don't feel like somebody's preying on you, that there's some kind of evil situation, that it feels very petty and like someone who you rejected in high school, like holding on to those feelings and, you know, kind of giving you negative energy, something like that, something that's quite small. But this is really nice. This is someone who is very much on your side, very compassionate, very supportive of you, having your back and wanting things to be okay. So provided you don't step in the ring with whoever is trying to bring up problems, I think you're going to be fine and you're going to be okay. I really get this feeling of small-mindedness from someone. Small-mindedness or an inability to move on. Someone who's projecting, you know, their frustrations and trying to kind of rope you into interacting on that level. So don't waste your time, Virgo. You have good opportunities here. Okay, Pisces is next. This is good because the next lunar event is the full moon in Pisces on the 10th of October. So let's talk about Pisces as opposed to Virgo. So the new moon is in Virgo at the 7th degree, in the 7th house for Pisces. 7th degree is here. Sorry. So yeah, it's a good new moon for new relationships, Pisces. That's usually what this new moon is about for you. New friends emerge, new people, new alliances, new people you can trust. Sun in Gemini. You don't have to have Sun in Gemini for this to be a message for you, but maybe 7th house. Again, friendship, something's coming up for you. So it really feels like someone who you can trust is becoming front and center. Overall, at this time, you may be feeling very disillusioned with the outside world and wanting to disconnect. You really want to pull away from the crappery, the bad behavior of things around you. And I think you're pretty much fed up or tired or in some way not enthusiastic about the way that things have played themselves out or the way that things have been. So you're moving on from a situation, and I think that overall you don't want to participate in the same old energies. While this sun, there's a new friendship that's emerging, something new to focus on, new person to get to know, and that's very exciting. It could be somebody. I had a client last week who told me that they were at a party and they met someone, and it felt very much like the reason that they got so connected with that person was because some of the friendship energies that were around them were sort of maybe not bad, but maybe it was time to bring something new or be in a new space, new environment. So it's a very similar energy here. So you don't have to change anything here, but there's an overall feeling of wanting to get away from some maybe unproductive situations to do with old timelines, people that you've known for a while. And with this new moon, something new is emerging, a new friendship, something new and exciting. But there could be a distance issue with regard to this person, meaning they can live far away, or they can somehow be inconvenient based on where you live. I lived in Vancouver for a very long time. I don't know if you know Vancouver, but it's a very like sprawled out city, very similar to like Los Angeles. So if you live on one side of Vancouver, it's very hard to keep in touch with people that live on the other side of Vancouver. Everything's so far away. So everybody's spread out. And so you may live in the same city, but it may be impractical to keep up with each other if you live too far away from each other. So it could be something like that. That's the friction. There could be someone at home who doesn't like your new, if you have a new love interest or a new friend that you want to bring around, there could be tension and a lack of acceptance. So there could be some mild frustrations about that, but it's not a terrible situation. It could just be something that may feel awkward at first, but I do feel like if that's the case, and especially if your new partner is not accepted by your family or something like that, then give it until the end of the year when Mars does its retrograde cycle in the 4th house. They're going to learn a lesson. So if let's say your mother is not accepting your new boyfriend and you're head over heels in love with him, do not fight about it so much until the end of the year. Well, don't fight about it at all. Just wait until the end of the year. Then that new person will be much more accepted. And it doesn't have to be a boyfriend. It could be a new job, like your husband's not accepting of a new job, or your mom doesn't like your new friend. Whatever is going on, like you've met someone who you're probably pretty excited about, and possibly someone from your house, your home, or your family is giving them the stink eye. And so you have to let that situation work itself out. Do not get involved. Let them learn their lesson their own way. It just feels like there's someone who is emerging in your life with this new moon that's a good friend, a new energy. It feels nice, Pisces. Okay, and that's sun, moon, and rising. 3 of Cups, it could be someone from the past. So maybe that's why your family is like, they treated you badly before. Why are you giving them a second chance? So we have or you have a very good connection with someone, and you sort of go towards family and home with full of hope and full of excitement. And maybe not everybody's as excited for your new friendship or relationship as you are. But just give them time to adjust. That's what and it's definitely not like a terrible thing. It's like, I don't know, it's like bringing home someone, like a new friend who's gay and your parents are homophobic. It could be something like that, where they're not accepting of your new friend and you found this like wonderful connection with this person. So give them this time to learn their lesson. That's what it feels like. Like they're not tolerant towards someone who's starting to matter to you a lot, and you need to be patient with that process, and they will learn the lesson. The strong message is they will learn the lesson of intolerance, right? So they will be tolerant towards this person in the future. It feels like very, very good connection. The star came up, and then we have Queen of Cups. There's a lot of emotions there. That Queen of Cups could very likely be Lilith here in the 5th house. So we have Lilith here in the 5th house alongside Sirius. A lot of like passionate feelings, darkened feelings, messed up emotions. Yeah, hidden animosities, which the moon can represent. So in short, I know I was working through the energy in the download, but it sounds like you make a good connection with someone. You're very excited about it, and I'm happy for you. It sounds like a good thing. No matter what kind of relationship is, you feel good about it. And I don't think everybody is as happy for you, but I think that in time they will learn. And if they're unhappy for a prejudicial reason, like they're, bigoted towards a certain orientation or whatever else, they're going to learn their lesson. So you don't get involved. You don't argue. I do have a feeling that some of you are going to try to argue and reason and screaming against the ocean. They have to learn for themselves in this case. So I don't think you should argue. I think you should stick to what feels good. If this new friend feels like a really good connection and someone you can trust and someone you can put your trust into, then stand by that. And I know it's going to feel bitter sometimes, but this Mars transit through Gemini is going to really teach anyone at home a lesson who's not seeing the writing on the wall. Like, in other words, they're not seeing you happy and they're throwing at you negativity. If they need to change something, they're going to learn through this transit. Okay, so Leos, hey Leos, welcome to my channel. Happy birthday for those of you who just had a birthday. Let's take a look at your chart. So first of all, we'll do the dice. So we have Pluto in Cancer. So this is when this is World War II, Pluto in Cancer, and the first house. Okay. This to me suggests that there's someone with dogmatic thinking around you. Somebody who has very particular beliefs that are based upon, how do you say this? Those older generations, Pluto in Cancer, they had a lot of rules that were based off not practical things. So they weren't rules that were based off lived experience. They were rules that were built off other rules. So if you ask someone why they believe something, why you have to do it this way, they'll say, just because I said so. Okay? And so you might be dealing with someone who is setting very stringent rules, really likes rules a certain way, but there's no reason for it. So there's like no skipping in the hallway. Why? It doesn't hurt anyone. Well, just no skipping in the hallway. Like, what's the reason for that? So it's like, that's a silly example, but someone has very particular expectations and there's nothing underneath it. There's no reason behind it. It just is what it is. Okay, that's what you're dealing with. And I think that this has to do with your financials, because we have, again, a lot going on with Saturn in the 7th house. And then we have the new moon, which is in your 2nd house of money, Neptune. And okay, I'll tell you guys, I'm getting a kind of a big download for you about this. This stringent person, this really rules, or there's someone around you where you make money that is a bit of a stick in the mud. They like it. They're like Pluto in Cancer. They have all these rules for things, but they don't make sense and they're not based in anything. Or if they were based in something, that situation ended. There's no practical application for why the rules are the way they are. You have to navigate around this person in order to make money. And so the download here is that you will have to not confront, but actually navigate around this Pluto in Cancer type, Saturn in the 7th house, towards your goals. So in other words, if somebody's testing you and if somebody's getting up on their high horse and saying, rule this, rule that, but there's no reason for it, you just mind your business. You keep doing what you're doing. Hold out a little bit longer because good financial outcomes are coming. But for this time, you do not confront. You do not talk about it with friends. This is a big warning that I just saw here. Don't talk about it with your colleagues. If your boss is saying stupid rules, don't say it to anyone. if you have or will say something to someone as Mars turns retrograde in the 11th house, that could very well kick you in the butt, which come right back around, which means the person you're telling whatever to says to someone else or someone overhears. There's just not a good time to share your opinion. What I'm seeing here is work quietly towards the opportunities that are emerging for you. There's a lot of financial opportunities here, and go along with the stick in the mud, smile and nod. That situation too will resolve itself, but it's not up to you to resolve it. And on the other side, there's great financial opportunities. So you basically have to play the tactical game in this situation. And if you've already said something to this individual, step back and disengage now. This may take a couple months for it to resolve. This new moon is going to end up with a full moon in Pisces in 2024, February 24th, 2024, in your 8th house. And to me, that suggests it'll be actually over here. So whatever, you just need to hold tight and work financially in the capacity that you're working. The outcome, there will be an unexpected outcome, an outcome that you can't yet assess for by 2024, by February 2024, and it will be financially positive. So when you want to correct someone on being a tyrant, on being a boss bully or whatever else, know that in about a year, that's going to work against you if you have. So just, I got the clear message for you to maneuver around, okay? So we have 9 of, see, sticker, just don't say it. Don't say it. One of the things about Pluto in Cancer, and some of your parents are Pluto in Cancer generation, one of the things that you guys know is that that generation, you think boomers, you can't discuss things with boomers. That generation, the boomers are what they are because of this generation. Do as you say. There was not even an opportunity to speak up. Very down, top-down sort of energy. So, in other words, let the kind of it play itself out and wait for your opportunities. This is lots of friendship coming up for people. I like this. 10 of Swords. Your relationship may be changing with someone as a byproduct of this. And it might be a sad sort of realization, but it's going to free you up. I think somebody may have been slowing you down in the way that they do things. And this is a time for you to focus on your goals, Leo. There's so much money here for you, and the Knight of Swords. So somebody's going to try to drag you into conflict. As you pull away, as you do the right things for yourself, this person will try to find reason to find conflict with you. Keep your head down, move forward, move with commitment. You know, when you put your feet forward in like a very like committed way or with full intention, do that and move ahead and move with intention, okay? But there is someone coming in who, the more low-key you are in achieving what you want to achieve, Leo, the farther you'll get. The more warning signs that you give off, the more that you show people what you're up to, the more they're going to react and cause you delays. So your key here is do it quietly and on the low. I know you're passionate, so you want to confront people and talk to them about what's wrong and figure it out. But I think in this situation, keeping a low profile, doing what you need to do, and trying to delay any confrontation. There will be a confrontation at some point about it, but you want to get as far away from this person's sphere of influence before there is. Okay? So quietly move ahead, move towards your goals. Try not to get noticed in what you're doing, and you will find success. Then we have Taurus. That was pretty intense. It's actually been an intense reading. Let's see Taurus's messages. So for you, Taurus, this is a new moon that's a bit of a energy that detracts from the great pressure you're under. This is going to be a part of the North Node transit that's going to feel like some of the most intense energy for the next month, 2 months or so. So just be patient with it. One of the most difficult moments, or the most intense moments, would have been at the end of July, beginning of August. But this new moon is in the 5th house. This could be something romantic that is bringing attention to you. You may feel as though you don't have enough money. So going into this new moon, or going into this Mars transit, you may feel as though financially you've missed the ball on something. And with this Mars retrograde through the fall, you're going to get a second chance at financial, like improving the way you do things financially, which means that if something comes up with this new moon that you really want to start, that you really want to initiate, and you don't have a lot of money for it, provided it's not putting you in grave danger to do so, take a bit of a risk, and financial things will work out later on in the year. And so the money you don't necessarily have right now will come around later. But again, not financial advice, and make sure that you're not risking or taking loans or something. You need to make decisions for yourself. But if there's something that you really want to initiate right now, something that brings you great joy, and money is the issue, but it's not a hurdle that's going to destroy you, to just like maybe your savings is a bit low, so you don't really want to use it a little bit. Your financial situation at the end of this Mars transit will be much better than it is now. So provided it's not too risky, take a little bit of a risk, okay? We have the South Node in Libra. I don't even know when that transit was. Let's see. So we have South... Oh, it's coming up next. Okay. Yeah, it's been like 17 years. South Node in Libra in the 11th house. Okay. So your 11th house is Pisces, and Libra is your 6th house, so completely different energies. But South Node Libra in the 11th house, I wonder if there's like fairness between friends, rumors between friends. Did somebody say rumors about you that slowed you down a little bit? I have a feeling that that this new thing that you're coming off of something in which a certain degree of disappointment happened, a certain disenchantment with people that you knew happened, and now there's like a treat that's coming up for you with this new moon, something that brings you new joy or excitement. And that's why I'm saying, like, put the money in. I think you've been through something of an emotional nature, and it has affected your life to be less fun. That's the Libra South Node in the 11th house. Duplicity from friends, a friend's betrayal, a friend gossiping about you, you finding out about it, something like that. And so now with this new moon, it's like treat yourself. Let yourself have this fun, because you need to, not because you have to, but because you've been negatively affected by outside factors. So spoil yourself a little bit. Not in a crazy way, but do something nice for yourself. And if something brings you great joy, I love this new moon for anyone in the 5th house, wherever it is. Whenever there's a new moon in the 5th house each year, such a nice new moon. And for the Taurus chart, sun, moon, and rising, it's happening right now. And so this is like where new beginnings of joy start. So this is new passions. Let's say that you want to, there's like cat cafe, and you want to go to the cat cafe and hang out with the cats. Maybe this is your new energy. So open yourself up to this new experience, to take a break away from disappointments with friends in the past, or family, or maybe legal issues between you and your partner as a divorce or separation is happening. So yeah, so if you're feeling kind of like weighed down by politics with friends and family or people around you, do something nice for you. Again, a lot of people are getting banged up. A lot of people are, and this is the new moon. It's like, let's put all this full moon energy, August 11th and stuff, on the back burner. Let's start something nice. I don't want to deal with it anymore. That's also what I'm getting for everyone. There's this feeling of you don't want to deal with it anymore. It just seems futile and wasteful. And yes, 5 of Swords. And then the Five of Cups. Yeah. So there's a situation that you can't do much about for the time being. And again, there's this feeling of you want to sit with it and feel it out, but I think you need a distraction more. And then we have the Two of Swords. You don't know everything that you need to know about the situation. Also, Three of Cups, joy and celebration in a new direction. So don't focus on whatever that situation is. Eight of Swords. And you also don't know how to fix it. Yeah, there's definitely a situation around you, Taurus, that's difficult. I find the transits of Jupiter in the 11th house, not if you have it natally, but the transit itself can be very like, I don't know, it can feel like a little bit like a bad time. So Jupiter's usually a positive transit and usually leads to positive things, but I think in the 12th house transit can feel uncomfortable. So there's like the everybody has their issues, right? So what's the Wizard of Oz? What's working behind the scenes in your life? And what is the thing that's not working? This is what this is. It's like either you're welcoming in the wrong people, or you have a commitment to someone you don't like, or someone keeps disappointing you. And that's sort of behind the scenes of everything that happens in your life. And there's good things there too, but I mean, it's that negative thing. And so in some way, Jupiter going through that is bringing it up, bringing it to the surface. And it's there for you to change it. But at this time, you can focus on something else instead. And don't let it become your whole experience, in other words. Okay? I see you sitting, I see you thinking, I see you hoping that it would be different. But I think that focus on something nice, focus on something new, take your attention off of it, move past and away from it. The pattern has come up for most of these readings today that nothing's going to get solved at the end of August, okay? Everything's going to get solved through the fall. So we're all feeling this tension. It's the big cross. And for you, it's in the first house. It's really, a lot of people, the other thing for Taurus is to be aware of, a lot of people are projecting onto you, right? Because the North Node is in Taurus. So everybody's sort of projecting, you are the hub. And so everybody's coming to you think of yourself as a receptionist. Everybody's coming to you with their problems. Everybody's acting out their frustrations to you because they see you as the lighthouse. They see you as the hub. They see you as the person who's amalgamating all the energy. And so that's the North Node in Taurus. And so that can get very stressful. And so in other words, not everything that everybody's directing at you this year is necessarily yours to bear. And so therefore you need to take it with a grain of salt. You're under a significant amount of pressure and you need to do nice things for yourself. And if something's come up that's of an unfortunate nature, be patient with it. It will resolve through the fall. And I don't think you can do very much about it right now. So focus on something nice. This could be romance too. I don't know. But a new moon in the 5th house. So if you're a single Taurus, go out on the boardwalk and see if you can meet someone or wherever you go to be social. Romance could be around the door for you at this time. So that might be a nice tear away from this energy that you want to get away from as well. So hang in there, Taurus, just a little bit longer. Okay, so let's see the last sign for today. We have Aries. Hi, Aries. Let's take a look at your messages for the new moon in Virgo. So this is a new moon for you in the 6th house. Usually that has a lot to do with how you live your life from day to day. Jupiter in Gemini. I think Jupiter in Gemini is coming up in a couple of years anyway, in the 8th house before the end of the decade. Okay. In the 8th house. 8th house represents change and transformation. This could be like financial windfall coming to you from your family. This could be like inheritance, but in the next 3 years. Big inheritance coming in. Or there could be, if you're going through separation or money coming in through your spouse over the next, let's say, 3 years when Jupiter enters into Gemini. Money coming in, opportunity coming in. But right now with this new moon, it's all about like organizing yourself and figuring out what you want to do and how you want to do it. There could be an emergent like relationships that are emerging from your environment at this time, which means that you could be finding really common ground with people at the beginning of September who you are around, and that could lead to potential with work and success. So with this new moon, you may want to make sure that you're using your time well on a day-to-day basis. This is a really good time for you to rethink how you want to spend your days. So if you look at your life objectively and you're like, I watch too much TV, or I waste my time here, and here. This is a new moon in which you want to be more efficient. This is a new moon in which you may want to start a new exercise practice, all sorts of practical things, hands-on things. It's not sexy, but it works. So as these new relationships emerge, which is the grand trine between Mercury, Mars, and Pluto alongside this new moon, that will ultimately lead to, it feels like a common understanding between you and someone else towards financial outcomes that seem really good. So make sure that you are not disheveled going into this. Make sure that you're in a receptive state in which you can speak with whomever you need to speak to about this, and that you're receiving their energy well. I feel like people making agreements, people agreeing to pull their money together, decide to work together, and it allows the speed of your work to accelerate. Let's see the next messages. We have the Hierophant, okay, which is Taurus energy. And so for you, this is the second house, money. And then we have the Queen of Wands. So yeah, this means like decisions. The new moon is how do you spend your time better to achieve the goals that you want. Somebody taught you a lesson or gave you some sound advice. So use the advice that you're receiving from friends and others around you. Then we have the Two of Pentacles. You have limited money to begin something. And that's kind of the tricky part. Seven of Pentacles. You want to sit and wait and watch that money increase, such as savings or something else. But I feel like there has to be a faster move in here for you to find success, which you will make. So in other words, right now you may be of the mindset that you need to save your money so that when you save enough money, you can put your action behind what you decide. But I think that here, there's going to be something that you're going to have to make a decision about quickly, which means that your strategy needs to update, and it's not really about sitting around and waiting for things to improve. It's about kind of in a smart way reorganizing something towards the outcome. And somebody's going to give you an advice. It could be a Taurus energy or like a teacher energy around you, someone who you look up to. And they're going to give you a new way of looking at something. So, when you think that like saving is the only way to make money, and then you realize that you need to sort of use money more efficiently so that it grows and so that you can improve your circumstances. This is what I'm talking about. That you have a passive approach to something and something's going to accelerate. And there's someone around you who's going to mirror that energy and things are going to move faster. Let's look on the bottom, Queen of Pentacles. So that's you towards financial goals. I feel like this is a energy that will tie into Pluto transiting into Aquarius energy over the next year, which means that this is just another data point towards a bigger outcome. But don't sleep on your opportunities right now, Aries. They're really good until February 2024. And then they'll be good too, but right now it's like a sweet spot. Okay? Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed this. I will talk to you soon. And happy new moon. Take care. Bye.